Hi class, this is Marshall Sponder. I just want to talk to you briefly about Adobe Analytics. All of you now should have easy access to to Google Analytics, which is the other analytics platform that we have in this course. And fortunately, for at least the last year, we've actually had Google Analytics based on the Google Merchandise Store. This is actually this is a real store that Google runs, and Google had really found that so many people were asking them for a real implementation of Google Analytics that really was running with real data in it, that they decided to take something that's a real thing that they sell, like shirts and stuff like that, and run it. So you can kind of see that this is the real store. You can really buy stuff like drinkware, electronics, accessories, office. In a way, I would say that while we pay for the Adobe Analytics instance, the Google Analytics is in some ways more valuable to us because it's real live data that you can actually look at things and go back and do stuff with. So I'll just briefly go over in about 20 minutes or so what's in here. If anybody really wants to know, first of all, there's instructions on how to get started with the Google Analytics Sandbox. It's in the left nav of the course, I believe. If you go over to the course here, there's there should be a link to the Sandbox. If not, here. If you click on this, that'll help you get started with the Sandbox. It's instructions. But anyway, getting back to Google Analytics, if you want to see what's happening in real time in Google Analytics, many of you may already be familiar with Google Analytics, and they're constantly changing stuff, but the interface is a lot, I think it's slicker and more adaptive than Adobe. But remember, this is just a front-end interface really to a back-end data source, and both platforms have things they do that might make it an advantage or a disadvantage to have it. And remember too that the Adobe and the Google Analytics both fit into cloud integrations with a lot of other tools and platforms that interface with both. And so the consideration of which tool to use, which platform to use, has probably got more to do with the integration efforts than this front-end level that we're looking at. But having said that, Google Analytics was originally Urchin. It was acquired by Google in 2005. It used to be a paid platform just like Adobe. It used to be fairly expensive, and then Google made it free. So it's been free and available to everybody for their personal use or their business use, with limitations. The limitations being that if your site had over 20,000 visitors a day, it started sampling data, and that didn't suit everybody. Also, because Google collects all this data, it has all of this data available to it to anonymize, and you can actually share your data anonymized and also get benchmarking reports. So, but if you want to just look at, if you have a real site and you want to see who's actually on the site, there's real-time reporting, and right now it's saying that there's 7 people are in there, including me. And in terms of locations, I should be showing up in here in the United States. If I look at, there's 3 people in the United States, one of them should be in Jersey City. That's me. So let's see what I can see about myself. It tells me I'm in Jersey City. It doesn't honestly, Google Analytics doesn't really show you much beyond. It shows me that, where am I? If I've been on here more than a couple minutes? No. Traffic sources. It's telling me I got this from organic search. That's true, because actually I was looking at the Google search page. So I'm now like segmenting on my visit. I'm on the home page. And but I haven't done anything. I haven't clicked on anything really other than that, and I haven't bought anything. So I haven't done any of these things. So if I cared, Google set up these 3 goals or events that are similar to Adobe Analytics that says purchase completed, registrations. Well, this real-time data would be there for me to know if how many people are buying at a particular moment in time, so I could see, if I just put out a new image or a new hero spot, I could see how the pickup of that is. So that could be very valuable. As far as, now I could get rid of this. You see how the segmentation gets added here, so I could get rid of it. Not that different than what Adobe does, but the interface is probably a little bit slicker. The audience in real time, there's a new report called Lifetime Beta. We'll get into that in another video. And the Lifetime Beta video, it shows, this is actually, this isn't real time anymore. So we have, well, let me just start here. We have, these are the regular reports. This is equivalent to the reports in Adobe Analytics. We can break down by various demographics, and this just shows us the traffic we've had over the last week. But we can change this to any period or compare 2 periods together back here. Lifetime value is just a new report. I really don't know too much about it, so we're going to explore that in one of our discussions later on in the course. But this is something I think that tries to mimic a report that Adobe has that Google did not have. But you can definitely get a, you probably have some documentation on what is this report. And cohort analysis is another thing that we're going to examine. But basically the best way to look at cohort analysis is that those people on day 1 that came in on June 2nd, on day 2, what are they doing versus the people who started on day 3, what are they doing? You can see that basically this tries to look at people who start at a certain time as being in a group. Like, say, people who take a course at a certain time and then looking at their outcomes. It does take a little bit of time to figure out how to use these cohort reports. We'll just definitely look at them. But the way it looks to me, as we look at all the users over the last week, there's 9,810 users. And on each day, these are the number of users that started on day 1. Now it seems to get higher every day, which is suspicious. So if we kind of take this time period and make it over the last 30 days, then I think we might be able to, better sense that these numbers are going to go down during the weekends and up during the weekdays. And you'll be able to see over a period of time, if people start on a Monday, tend to be more active on a Tuesday or a Wednesday afterwards, and vice versa. So this would be valuable if you were starting a campaign on a certain day and you wanted to see, therefore that was the cohort. You wanted to see if the outcomes are different. So that's another thing. Another thing that's new in Google Analytics is the User Explorer. That's been around about 2 years. And what Google does, which is kind of really interesting, is create a unique experience, a unique tagging for every visitor. And as you can go to all the visits that, let's say we do the first 2,500 that it's got. This is a unique hexadecimal ID that's being created for any event. It's anonymized, so you don't actually, like, for example, we'll take the top one. It's 15 visits. This is what is it that it's recording. It does achieve some kind of goal, and it'll actually tell you that it's really a particular cookie that came in and how it came in and whether it bought anything. It doesn't tell you who it is. It tells you the initial way this person was acquired was direct, so they just typed in the website and went to it. And you can expand this out, and then you actually see exactly what this cookie did. on the different visits it did. You don't know who it is, but you can see what it did. And so that could be very valuable, but one has to really think about this. There have been people that have tried to misapply what this does. You need to do research on what these tools do and then find out if they fit your use case. Also, in Google Analytics for the last 3 or 4 years has been the Google double-click data that's been propagated over from advertising that Google does, that everyone does on AdWords and AdSense. And so that data, by Google's own estimation, reflects about maybe 60 or 70% of all the total visitors, and it tells you the agenda that they think. This data is based on the interest that they think these people are, and it's based on the clickstream data across the websites that Google can track, across all the properties where they have their tagging and tracking. So it says that the majority of people that come to this site are males, and then we can look at the majority of them are 25 to 34, and we can break this down. It starts getting sparser as we break it down. Traditional web analytics didn't have this data in it. This has been, let's say, an extension as marketing becomes more sophisticated. These things have been being added. And then gender, age, and then you can also have interests, which I think are pretty interesting, except they're based on TV advertising. That this segmentation, this interest overview, basically, I think is fairly trite because it doesn't, you don't really know what shopper value shoppers really is, how Google defines that. So basically they're saying now it's up to 68% of all the visitors, they have some kind of profile on where these cookies went. Like, did they visit shopping sites a lot? Well, affinity categories basically says these are people that have displayed that they go to shopping sites, and in market really basically says that it looks to Google as if these people are in the market for these services, and other categories are. I'm not really sure how they determine that, but if you want to segment on these things, you can go into the actual segment report and then go into that report. And you can even do dimensions on this, like travel, hotels, accommodations. These are people who come to the site, and you can kind of select a secondary dimension of. Be nice if they gave you multiple dimensions. You could do it, but let's say city, and then you can get the report of people who are interested in travel and what cities they're in, and that could be very interesting. And then you can break this report down. Say Mountain View, that kind of makes sense because Google's headquartered there, and see if it's male and female. You wouldn't be able to break down any further, I don't believe. I don't know, actually it gives you a secondary dimension here. So let's say landing page. That's one I usually like to do. So where did they land? So actually you can break this down a little bit. So those people, but actually now it's not. Yeah, these are the people that are 25 to 34, but I don't know that you're actually still segmenting on those people in Mountain View. So you've lost that. So you don't have that ability to do a dimension to another dimension, and that's something I found very frustrating with these tools. It's just a limitation that they have. They've always had. And there's other categories here. So you can go into that and get some demographic data. And you can also break down by geography, by language, which is typical, and by location. So you can do that. You can also look by So you can break these down as far down as the city. You can't go any further than that unless you add a custom dimension such as zip code or neighborhood, and we've done that in some instances. I haven't here, but I've had clients that have done that, and that can be pretty interesting. And it's not rocket science to do it, so there's a lot of extensibility that you could actually have. One of the reports that's really interesting, well, first of all, let's look at behavior. So new and return, again, everything that you have in Adobe, you have here. So the value of it is, and these reports are all the same. New and returning frequency, I'm not even going to go into its engagement. This just shows you how many times people are coming, how long they're staying. I don't know that. That's a very limited idea of engagement. It's not action-based. And I don't think you can add any secondary dimension to it. Session quality is a beta report that's new. Again, how my sessions, so you can learn more about this report. And I encourage you to click on all these answers, like what is this based on? Session quality, using similar machines, calculates the session quality and the average session quality metrics test. Proximity, so they're trying to tell you how likely is it that this person's going to convert, based on what you're seeing here. The sessions, is the session quality good? So it might take some time to actually figure out how to read these reports as something meaningful, but that's a new report. I'm not going to go into all of this. I'm just going to get you comfortable. Again, you've got all of these. The benchmarking is kind of interesting because if you share your channel, if you're an admin and you share your data anonymously, that's an admin setting. And I think these guys did when they set this up at Google. You can get reports by, you have to select an industry vertical. And you can see how your site, say, doing the hobbies and leisures, clubs and organizations, all clubs. And you can actually compare how your site does with the benchmark. I won't really go into that in detail, but I encourage you to play with it, and also to play with, and I don't know what happened here with the benchmark. I think it's, let's get rid of benchmark sessions. Benchmark, let's get rid of it. I'm not sure. We're not showing country here. Not doing demographics. So add benchmarking, and user flow is the user flow diagram similar to Adobe Analytics. So you can go through. And so the biggest thing here, and you can also change these to different, you can put anything in here. You can put cities, you can put social, you can put Facebook, you can put social networks. You can put any kind of dimension you want. And you can also add segmentation, so you can add a segment. So now you have your segment user. You can create your own, and you can also add demographics to your segment. So it's actually pretty slick. I won't really even go into that because I think it's so user-friendly that I don't need to. You can break down by every kind of traffic, and I think that Search Console is valuable to look at. This is the data from SEO that Google is now sharing with sites that authenticate. You can look at how many impressions a particular page of the website that's being monitored shows up in Google, where it comes from, what devices. So if we look at the landing pages, we could see how many impressions each landing page has got in the Google search engine. And that's valuable. Also, we can look at the queries, which is very valuable because we can see any kind of page that came up with any kind of keyword, even not necessarily the ones that we planned on. This could be extremely valuable for ideation and for creating new content that you would want to. Also campaigns, you can look at all the different kind of campaigns that you want to run here. And there's some AdWords data in here. I think you can look at all of the AdWords data in the, and also you can't set up any new goals, I believe, in this, but you can look at the goals that Google set up for you, and you can look at the goal paths like goal URLs, goal paths, anything that Google set up already. You can, these are the ones they set up. And funnel visualizations, I think they've still got that in here. These are the old clunky looking, but they work, and they show you stuff. Smart goals. I'm not really sure what that does, honestly. There's so much stuff, and then e-commerce. If this is set up, you can look at shopping behavior, checkout, and I think we have 1 or 2 assignments on that, what people are doing. They kept adding new stuff. Product list performance. New reports are being added constantly. Marketing is multi-channel. Everything you can do here. So this is all real data, and of course they added this order coupon thing. This is pretty cool. And this is real money. So like if you want to look at a particular thing on the website, let's just say you're going to look at, I want to know about this particular, I like this YouTube shirt that they have here, YouTube Hero Tee. So they've done something, Google's so flexible, like this URL is created by a combination of regular expressions of women's plus t-shirts. This is not typical, but this is more of a programming approach, probably in Perl. That's part of adaptive design. So they've generated dynamically the URL. I don't know what they're using for this, but if I want to get this shirt, this is a real shirt. I want to see how many people have come to this page lately. I don't know if I can just take this and search on it. This could just be, but let me just take this part and maybe go to the pages and look at, not even finding this thing, acquisition, behavior, site content. That's usually where I find all pages, and I just kind of find it there. If I want to just see if I can get it this way. Does it do it? No. So I have to just get rid of stuff so I can. It doesn't, in other words, finding the thing in this way is usually, I'm just gonna do t-shirts. See if I can find it that way. Okay. So I have the women's t-shirts here. I don't know how many people looking at it. So is that really the page, though? The question is that the really one that I want to look at? And that's because it doesn't know which of the 3 sites that Google has for the different regions. But it's saying right now that in the last week there's only been 4 people that clicked on it, that had a view of that page. Didn't spend any time on it. So if I'm right that one is that page, and the men's t-shirts, there's not that many people, so we can't even see what that page is. But you certainly can do that. You can do events. There's so much depth in Google Analytics. I don't know that we can really go in full depth into this. I just get you to feel comfortable so that you know what the data is and you know how to course relate it with website goals, business goals, the other courses you're taking at Baruch. So I don't make any claim to really. If you really want to go super deep into this, you're probably going to need to take additional courses or pursue this on your own, because we're not going to go super deep into everything. I mean, there's a lot that one can learn here. However, and of course here they're showing you some of the things you can do for custom metrics. I'm not even going to cover it all. What I do is encourage you to take some of the Google online courses. They have the Google Academy. I think there's 5 courses you can take. Google Analytics Academy. Lunametrics creates good courses. These are all courses that you can self-paced online courses that you can actually take. The Google Analytics for Beginners, Advanced Google Analytics, E-commerce, and Tag Manager. These are all things that you can sign up for. I used to even have some of them in the course. I used to give extra credit to do these things. When they were first launched, they gave you certifications. I urge you to go in and play with these things and sign up and go through them. I'm not going to make you go through them, but I think if you really want to get this and feel that you've mastered it, you don't have to do this. You're not going to get credit for it. But certainly of the ones that I've done, the first three, I thought the e-commerce analytics had the nice sluggish interface. They all give you like little tests. I don't know if they still give you some kind of certification. And then there's a tag manager. That one might be useful. Especially since we talk about tag managers being so important when you're managing all your properties and stuff like that digitally. So, but there again, I'm just getting you comfortable. And I guess later in 2017, my book is going to be out, and it'll integrate very well with this course and other courses I teach. So I will leave you with Google Analytics. The best way to look at Google Analytics and Adobe Analytics is pick a real problem to solve. Start somewhere like, I want to see what's happening on this page, and then figure out how to do it. How to work backwards from this. How do I work from this back to a report? And how do I figure out who are the people going to this page? Who are, what other pages have they looked at? Where are they coming from? What cities are they coming from? How much time did they spend? Are they new visitors? How did they come? If you just take one little piece of a website and work backwards, you'll end up learning everything that you need to know. Everything that you will need to know. Just keep on taking apart things and working backwards, up, working out. You could work down, but sometimes that's too general. It's better to go, I find, to learn this stuff is to just take something, pick anything, and work outwards and start asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? And eventually you're going to work yourself back up to the top level. For me, at some point you might say I'm getting stuck in the weeds, but you need the vocabulary that you're building here. And that's what this course is really for. It's to build vocabulary. It isn't necessarily to become a ninja. And I never promised or delivered that. Because I think to become a ninja, you need to be in a real work environment for a couple of years and get a variety of experiences that we can't provide you in an academic setting. Nor should we have to, because that's not what we do. We're supposed to teach you how to think, actually. So I hope we're doing. Cheers.